Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham.
Hey, y'all.
And this is State of Atlanta. Tim has too busy of a life, my friend. He gets to do cool stuff. I don't know what he's doing this time.
Yeah, I actually don't remember either. But I feel like it wasn't as cool as normal. I think it's like work stuff.
Oh, that's lame. This is more fun than. But I have a. Whenever he's on his 6 beach trips he goes on every single year, I'm like, I love my kids. I love my kids. I love my kids. We miss you, Tim. We'll get you next week, hopefully. So,
Yep.
Before we get started, I want to do something different. Before we get started, we normally do our little beg and plead for Patreon members at the end of the episode, but I acknowledge we go on and we ramble forever. So not a lot of people hear that spiel. I just want to go ahead and toss out, if you like the show, if you listen to it, please consider joining our Patreon group. It's only $5 a month. We do have an off-season special going on right now. They won't let me give a free month away, but I can do 50% off. So if you do OFF5, when you sign up to join, you get 50% off. So $250 for the first month instead of $5. It does help us out. All the money goes right back into these microphones and paying for hosting and stuff like that. And the coolest thing is you get access to the group chat, which is always fun. We always talk about Georgia State on a daily basis, college sports in general, and sometimes there's some barbecue tips in there. And then also at our tailgates, obviously, whenever we get it sponsored, we have our alcohol for free there. So just want to go and toss that out there at the beginning of the show. I hate when people do this stuff like this, but I know a lot of people don't stick around to the end of the show because we do ramble a little bit.
There's a reason they do it early.
Yeah.
It's fine. People expect it. Just you sign up.
Patreon.com/State of Atlanta, and you can join in, and we would love to get you in that group chat. The group chat really is the best talk in Georgia State, in my opinion. But OFF5, 50%.
I gotta tell you, man. Speaking of beer sponsors, I went to pick up my beer today at Max, and I was very excited because they had Murphy's.
Yeah, you said that. You texted me that they had Murphy's. Is that not a common thing? Is that not around all the time?
No, it's not. And there was like a place in Buckhead. I forget where it was. They had this like bar in the back that was really small, and they had Murphy's on draft there. And it was the only place I've ever found in America that had Murphy's on draft. But it was only in this one bar, and it wasn't at their front big bar. It was at the little tiny bar in the back. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I went there a few times till they stopped having it too.
Oh, well, Mac will take care of you.
Apparently, so in Ireland, you go there, and I was like, when I went, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a tourist guy and drink Guinness everywhere, and it's just gonna be like, oh, I'm a tourist.
I did the same thing. I did the exact
same thing.
It's
not a tourist thing. Everyone drinks it. It's normal.
Yeah.
That is like it's earned. They drink Guinness everywhere there, except for in Cork. In Cork, they drink Murphy's. And it's everywhere, and there's not a lot of Guinness, and there's Murphy's everywhere, and it's delicious. I think it's better, but it's just hard to find.
But it's the same style of beer. It's a stout beer. It's the same kind of thing. It's just better.
It's a very drinkable stout, yes.
Excellent. All right, well,
Guinness.
Save some for me. I'll come over and we can drink some Murphy's together.
Well, I went from 30-pack of PBR to 8 of those. So
probably for the same price?
Probably way more, honestly.
Is it brewed over there and they ship it over here, or do they make it here like Guinness does? Because Guinness makes theirs here, don't they? That's what everyone says. Everyone says that Irish Guinness is better than American Guinness because the water and how many chemicals we have and everything.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
I know.
You know what? It says White Plains, New York. No, but it's Heineken, imported by Heineken. So it says UK, a product of the UK. So it's not in Ireland.
Okay. Well, Ireland. I don't know the breakdown. I saw a Venn diagram this week that broke out how the British Isles and the Irish, the UK and the Britain and all that kind of stuff, and I still can't remember what.
It's very confusing. It's very weird. But Northern Ireland is technically United Kingdom, but
right.
But the rest of Ireland is not.
Gotcha. God, yeah, I do recall that. All right, let's get into some Georgia State stuff. Well, shit. Sorry, mic moved. Not really Georgia State stuff, but we did an entire hour-plus episode last week, getting everybody up to speed on how bad of fans La Tech fans are, thinking that they were going to be joining the conference. And I think the next day it came out and said that the Louisiana Tech was blocked by the Sun Belt presidents. They will not be getting an invitation. That I think Lafayette was the only program that was on board for them, and then the rest of them were like, "No, we don't need another Louisiana school," which I really can't argue with.
Yeah, but like that's actually like a good Louisiana school, like compared to other Louisiana schools. Like that one actually, like they would bring something more to the table. I feel like.
Yeah, Terry Bowden.
Yeah, sure. That's what a Florida State guy, right?
No, Terry Bowden went to Louisiana Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Terry
Okay.
Terry. God, why am I being an idiot? Not Terry Bowden. That why can't I think of his name?
Oh, the Coach Terry. No,
No, on Fox NFL Saturday. Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw.
is he not a coach?
I don't think so. No, but Terry Bradshaw was quarterback at Louisiana Tech before going on to Pittsburgh and winning what 2 or 3
I don't know why.
Super Bowls.
It's exactly who I thought, and I just for whatever reason
Yeah,
think.
Terry Bowden was actually he ended up coaching Monroe for a couple of years before not even he could fix him up right. So Terry Bradshaw, man, I'm an idiot. I've been drinking for a while today,
All right.
so yeah. So Louisiana, the entire state sucks. Jerry's cool. Bummer about La Tech, but I'm kind of cool with just sticking around and holding off. I mean, Texas State has not even left yet, so
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even that's not official, even so, right? So like they might not even go.
I saw once. This is just message board garbage, so it's not real at all. But somebody posted on the Sunbelt message board that the PAC was waiting until July so that the exit fee for Texas State goes up from 5 million to 10 million, so that Sunbelt can then use that money to go get Eastern Carolina. That they're doing that solid for us, that favor for us, making that. I,
No, no, they're not.
I know. I told you it's message board garbage, but I thought it was funny. I was like, oh yeah,
Or
that's
was that
just
they think what the pack is ponying up that $5 million and
yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no.
because the assumption is the PAC's paying because the PAC has all the money from all the schools that left to go to Big 10 or Big 12 or wherever the hell they went, and so they're using that money to pay the exit fees for the schools that they're bringing in from the Mountain West and wherever. So
It's still very doubtful, but I guess maybe not like dumb on its face, right?
yeah, but they're not waiting around because they could just give us an extra 5 million if they wanted to. They didn't have to wait for a certain date.
Yeah.
Because and then the reason why I say that is on July 1st, it cost Texas State $10 million to leave the conference. If they announce on or before June 30th, it's only $5 million to leave
Well,
the conference.
I bet we hear news pretty soon then.
Yeah, is June 30th on a weekday? Because it'll definitely come out on that weekday. Otherwise, it'll come out whatever the weekday is before.
Yeah,
So,
no, 30th is a Monday, so I bet it comes out by Friday.
yeah, probably so. Probably so. But I did want to say that we always talk. One of our early kind of things we'd always talk about GoFundmes for different things. Setting up a GoFundMe for something. I think we need to.
I think you guys wanted flags for a long time.
Yeah, I think we need to get a GoFundMe to pay for Jerry's internet because he was staticky as hell the entire time, and it'd be nice for him to be able to actually have a decent sounding contribution when we have him on the show.
I thought you paused. I was like, "Oh man, that's fitting."
Wait, go ahead.
He
Sorry.
does live in Monroe, Louisiana, though, so I don't know if any of
Lafayette. He lives in Lafayette.
Oh, does he?
He lives in Lafayette. Yeah.
So I noticed that when we were on that podcast with the ULM people, which I don't know where that is on the schedule here, but they were saying Lafayette. Is that something they say to make fun of them, or is that how it's pronounced? Like when you're there, is it like Cairo?
I don't know if it's a pronunciation thing for like that region or whatever, but I know that yeah, it's one of the many jokes about Lafayette is Lafayette because they're laughing at you.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering. I didn't know if it was them just making fun of
I
Lafayette or.
think that was the making fun of them, but I actually did not put that on the agenda to talk about. But yeah, we you and I hopped onto the Monroe podcast on what was that Monday? Not no Sunday night. Sunday night.
Sunday night. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
It was. They were a good little crew, and I learned about Monroe and how they're not swamp people, which is weird because Duck Dynasty felt like they were swamp people, but that's fine, whatever. And they look down on the rest of the state, it seems like. And I'm like, oh, these
Yeah,
Louisiana
what
guys.
I have hated on Louisiana, and rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with me hating on Louisiana. I'm justified in hating on that entire state from top to bottom, east to west. But what I've learned is if you talk to somebody who runs a podcast in Louisiana, pretty cool people. Jerry's great, and yeah, Chase and Tibbs, they were fun. Chase, we had Chase eating out of our hands. He loved
Yeah,
us.
he definitely was into our style of podcasting. He seemed relieved and excited that people were just going to be like real casual.
Yes, yeah. The first thing that the main guy Tibbs, or Tibbs, I don't even know how to say his name.
It's the French stuff.
Right. He first before we went on the air, he's like, who are you guys affiliated with? And I'm like, alcohol. Like,
Is it like we were supposed to like throw up gang signs?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're
Who you
part of the college.
repping?
We're part of the college huddle, but we don't have any kind of like actual network TV, rivals 24/7 affiliation or anything. So
We just show up and talk shit.
yeah, I don't think anybody would want to. No one wants to put their name behind us. That's for sure. When college huddle came a knocking, I don't think they know what they got their hands onto. But
Yeah.
they're
That's
stuck with us now.
I feel that way whenever we get invited on a podcast. I'm like, you guys didn't listen to us at all.
Oh, exactly. And we got we got recognized as the podcast to listen to for Georgia State. So
That's quite true.
yeah, for sure. We're definitely the tailgate to go to for Georgia State because there's only there's probably more podcasts for Georgia State than there are tailgates.
That might be true. I'm sitting there in my head counting on one hand, and yeah, I think you might be right.
If you count Dave, which is an official paid podcast, I think we definitely have more podcasters covering Georgia State than we have tailgates, regular tailgates.
Yeah, might be. Oof, that's rough. Well, we have. Can we call each of our tents a tailgate, or are we just one big tailgate?
No, we're one big tailgate.
Yeah. Occasionally, we're two.
Well, yeah, no. If you're going to count every single tent, then we got to count every single window here as a different podcast as well.
Yeah, probably. That might make sense. All right, fair enough.
Anyhow, that podcast, Warhawk Report podcast, they were just asking us about our takes on what the season of Georgia State is going to be like, and we gave them our opinion. And anyhow, that it's not posted yet. As soon as it gets posted, I'll put it out there, but it'll be just an audio post. They won't. Well, I don't think they do the video thing. I don't think they have TVs in Monroe.
They're like, what? We have video. What is this?
What is this whole thing? What's this whole thing?
Moving pictures? Interesting.
Talkies.
Yeah, he told me that real early on that it was audio only. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it had the nice StreamYard get up and all that, and then nobody will see us our battle for who is the host of State of Atlanta or what are we?
Yes. If you were able to watch the video, they have like how we have our little placards here on YouTube. Brian had put when I joined. Brian was on before. Shockingly, Ryan joined before me, and he had his name listed, and then he had co-host of State of Atlanta. So of course, I put host of State of Atlanta, and 20 minutes in, Ryan's like host of State of Atlanta, and so I'm like super host. He's like superist.
Best host.
And I think I ended it with better host than Ryan.
Something like that.
I'm hilarious.
Likely true,
Yeah. Anyhow, all right. So we'll put that out. I'll link that on our socials whenever it comes up. Maybe I can do something on our stuff as well. But we can get into some actual Georgia State stuff. One of my favorite topics and one of your least favorite. So I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm happy. I'm not happy Tim's not here, but I'm happy Tim's not here for this one thing because now you're forced to talk to me about schedule news. And I don't hide behind your little camera turning off thing. All right. It's very, very little, but we got some basketball schedule news. Nothing super big, but we're playing Kennesaw State again. Okay. Playing Kennesaw State again, playing Jacksonville State, which is not far. I think it's a good matchup. But we're also we're playing at Arizona State, November 17th.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a random pull to go fly out there and everything. But they went 13-20 last year, so they're not a powerhouse by any stretch. Although I think they only had 2 out of conference losses. So, they were dealing with their big whatever schedule they're dealing with, but I think they only lost 2 games out of conference. So, not, walk in the park, but probably a winnable major game. I like that. It's on a Monday. Monday makes it suck because if you want to go to that game, you got to take off Monday and Tuesday. You can't do that one with one day work.
Where is Arizona's Tempe?
Tempe.
Where is that? I mean, I know it's in Arizona, but
it's the capital.
Phoenix is the capital.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Phoenix is capital. Tempe is the other city.
There's Tucson too.
Yeah, that was your old Panther Talk handle was it was Tucson, right?
It's my gamer handle typically. So yeah, I misspell it though. Tuscon.
You should do the combine the Star Wars aspect to be the Tucson Raiders because it looks like the Tuscan Raiders.
Yeah, lots of people just call me Tuscan, and I'm like, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever said to you in person, Tucson, whatever, you're like, "Oh, you pronounced it correctly." I was like, "People don't pronounce it correctly."
No one does. But I do spell it wrong, so I don't like count anybody out for it. It is just weird. It was just weird to have somebody say it right. I do Arizona State. I thought they were cool for a long time, and it was because I liked their old logo with the little 50s style cartoon devil.
The little trident thing going down and everything.
Well, yeah, it was like a little guy in like a onesie, like a devil onesie, and they got rid of it like what 5 to 8 years ago or something. As I get older, it's probably like 15 years ago that it happened, but 5 to 8 years ago. And I was just like, this is so stupid. I mean, it's still a cool logo, like the little trident thing is still pretty cool. But man, I like the little 50s cartoon. I think that was cool.
It's reminiscent of like the little devil on your shoulder type thing, kind of like the guy that's prodding you into doing the bad or probably the most awesome thing ever.
Yeah,
I didn't look it up. I don't know if we've ever played Arizona State before. I would love to go to that game just cause, but no, it's not gonna happen. We do a watch party.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to Arizona for basketball. Oh, yeah, right. I probably wouldn't go for football either.
No, that's where we. Arizona. They have football. Yeah, we could if the Falcons were at the Cardinals, then you could do a double dipper type of a situation. But
yeah, you could if you were into that sort of thing. But
Falcons are hosting the Panthers that Sunday, and I really, really, really hate that I'm such a diehard Georgia State Panther fan and an Atlanta Falcons fan. I don't like that there's a team in the NFL that has the same mascot in our division that's the mascot of my college.
My brain doesn't even see the word Panthers the same next to Carolina versus Georgia State. Like my brain, it might as well be a totally different word with all different letters. I don't know why, but my brain just doesn't even recognize it as the same word.
When we played Air Force in the Georgia Dome, I'm sitting there front row in the Georgia Dome cheering on the Panthers against the Falcons, and it just felt so dirty and so wrong. I was cheering for the right team, but in the wrongest way possible.
Yeah, no, doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, man, this is fine.
I really hate that. I wish we should have never allowed that. I think Georgia State back when was it 91 when they got that expansion team. I'm making that up, but I think I'm right. And I think that we should have vetoed it and said, nope, we have an amazing research university in our downtown area. You cannot have a team in our division with the same name. Be the Carolina Suckholds.
Wait, so when Carolina came around and said we would like a team, we should have said no. Georgia State should have said no.
The Falcons should have said no. The Falcons should have been so forward thinking that no.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that seems plausible. Like something that would happen.
You know what also seems plausible? Segue. We have another basketball game against Kennesaw State on a Friday. I'm assuming a Friday evening, December 5th. Like they just don't want anybody from Atlanta to go to that game. For me to go to a game in Kennesaw on a Friday afternoon, Friday evening, I've got to leave on Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta make sure your passport's all up to date.
Well, I'm not even talking about the distance. I'm talking about the time it takes. Rush
Yeah,
hour
yeah, I know.
traffic up
Yeah,
75 from downtown. Like,
yeah.
there's no way I can go to the game. There's just no way I can, unless I take the day off work. There's no way I can go to that game.
You really do have to leave, like, midday, because if it's, like, anything after 2, it's gonna be pretty rough to get up there.
Yeah, I'm assuming probably a 7:30 tip off. So you've got to leave downtown Atlanta 4 o'clock at the latest.
At the latest, but again, you're not getting out of Atlanta at 4 on a Friday.
No,
That's not
no, not
happening,
at
even
all.
in the summer.
I mean, I wish they would realize
Oh, it's
something
not gonna
like
be
that.
summer.
Granted, not all Georgia State fans that go to games. I'd say the majority of Georgia State fans that go to games don't live in Atlanta, so not that big of an issue. We probably have more Georgia State fans in or around Kennesaw
It's probably true.
than we do in Atlanta. But still, like, if there are students or whatever that want to go to the game, like what's that bus? If Georgia State schedules a bus for students to go up to Kennesaw, like, all right, cool. Just don't go to class on Friday. Wait, this is for the Tuesday. Do they still do the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the Tuesday, Thursday schedule? That's what it was when I was in
I have no
school.
idea, that's but even mine, it was, like, more like Monday, Wednesday, and the Fridays sometimes weren't there.
Right,
You
right,
go
right.
find those Monday, Wednesday ones that didn't have a Friday.
That was the money. That was the money.
But if they
So
do a bus, I mean, there's bus lanes and stuff, so they'll actually probably make it just fine.
I gotta get on that bus.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So got that. But it's right there around my birthday, so maybe I can.
Just take the day off, man. We'll
Good.
just go up there, hang out at an Applebee's,
When
get
we went to
some,
Marlowe's Tavern last time.
yeah, get some, lemon drops, some birthday cake shots.
Whenever Marlowe's Tavern is one of those chain bars that I always think is just like a sports bar, and then I walk in and it's like, am I underdressed for this bar? Like, it's way nicer than I expect it to be.
They behave like they're a lot nicer than they are,
Yeah.
for sure, and it is better than an Applebee's, like, so I won't make that crack necessarily, but, like, it is definitely not as upscale as they wanna be.
Yeah. We had a good time. We always have a good time. We're awesome. That's
I
what we
mean,
do.
you show up at a bar, you're gonna have a good time.
Do you have alcohol? We're good. We're good.
Vaguely friendly to us. All right, cool.
Why are you guys all wearing blue? All right. Then the other game that was announced a week later, or a week and a day later, Jacksonville State. And I think Jacksonville State, Ryan. I don't know if you remember this specifically. I think that's the game when we played at Jacksonville State in football. I think that's the game in my mind. That's the moment in my mind when you and I became like buddies. Like, we were friends before then, like tailgate friends. But I think it was like that tailgate that you and I became buddies. Like, you know,
Well, it's when we like kind of combined our tailgates too, because I was like, oh, well, we're up here, and we're like, oh, let's find all the Georgia State people, and we sort of combined our tailgates into one thing, and then we were tailgating together
yeah, yeah.
ever since.
Ever since the Drew Little kick that that combined that made us into really good buds.
I think before that, me and Derek were taking his hoopty into the brown lot, and he was damaging his car trying to get into that dirt lot every game. And we would just sit there in these little tiny fold out chairs that like sat all the way down on the ground, like they weren't like sitting up. And we just brought like a cooler of PBR and a big old thing of Publix chicken wings, and we
And
just sat.
your goat cheese. Your goat
And
cheese.
I did always bring goat cheese, and we just sat there and hung out in the brown lot, took in the sights, and, it was a
Like,
tailgate, man. Yeah, we did it.
you made it. You made it. We have football at Georgia State.
Humble beginnings.
No, but, so there Jacksonville State's less than 100 miles away. Like that, I talk about Birmingham, UAB all the time. I think that Jacksonville State should be a regular schedule for all sports all the time. Too close not to do it, right?
It's close. It is sort of a very small school out in the middle of nowhere and doesn't fit sort of the mold of what, we've talked about wanting to be part of and all that stuff. So, in that way, it doesn't match UAB nearly as much. It more matches, like, TDS.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I want them to be in a conference with us. I'm just
Yeah.
saying our Olympic sports, it should be a regular rotation. Jacksonville State should be played every single season in all of our sports.
If the priority is like regional scheduling for all sports, then yeah, absolutely, no brainer to schedule
And
them.
and so and that game brilliantly is on a Saturday. So, all those country bumpkins like, "We're gonna go into the city for the weekend and see a game," you know?
Is they're not in a city?
No, they're gonna go into our city. They're gonna go
Oh
into
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Atlanta, the real city,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and, see a real game. They're gonna be, like, mesmerized by the tall buildings and, you know, people with questionable morals.
We'll lose a bunch of them to Talladega as they drive by.
Yeah, I know, it's like
I was like,
but
you
then
know what? We're gonna stay here.
it is I'm not a race fan, but it's pretty cool when you drive that direction and you see everything. You're like, "Man, that's huge."
It's massive. It's
So
such a huge structure. I'm like, holy crap, it's huge. And then you go into Talladega National Forest, which is beautiful. And then like when you're heading out to Jacksonville, there's like a mountain out in the middle of nowhere or something. I don't know. It was a really pretty drive. I was like, man, this is kind of a great drive.
right. Yeah, and they get a mellow mushroom, like, right there at that exit when you, exit off at Jacksonville State.
Oh, I don't think I remember that, but
I may have made that up, but there is a mellow mushroom off of 20 when you're in that region of Alabama.
nice.
So, yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of out of conference games. I'm happy with all those. The Kennesaw State and the Jacksonville State games are, home and homes, so there'll be return trips for, Kennesaw State back in Atlanta in next year, and then I will, uh, go to Jacksonville State. Wait, yep. Yes, that way.
What?
I don't know if I'm saying I can't even figure out what I'm saying. So we're gonna have Kennesaw State here next year, and then we'll go to Jacksonville State next year. So that'll be in the works. So that's all I got about that.
That's enough, I think. I mean, we did scheduling. We talked it into the ground.
uh, baseball, Georgia State baseball,
I heard we
Georgia
might be getting a new field.
Georgia State baseball stadium or park or lot of land or something. Yeah, so I think that came out right after we recorded last week as well, true to fashion. Yeah, the permits were filed for the construction of the baseball, whatever it's gonna be, is out
Oh,
there. So
right, because last call we were not able to release it, right? And that's where we all sort of like we were we were more negative than usual during that last call.
yeah, last call didn't record last week, so we don't have a last call recording from last week.
And the big problem is they had that article in Atlanta Business Journal, Atlanta Business whatever, ATL
Mhm.
Biz something. And it talked about the construction kicking off, or it will kick off, but there's no new information from when they had last heard from the school about it, like the previous year. And when reached, there was no comment.
Right.
No,
Yeah, so
no
that
comment.
was the thing. So Tim is the one that messaged, us about all of that, and you and I had the exact same reaction to the article, which was GSU declined comment. And if you actually read through the, Atlanta Biz Journal, whatever the website was, but like they cite Panther Talk for information about the baseball stadium because they couldn't get it from Georgia State.
Yeah.
How?
And it's still just the same picture that they've been
Mhm.
showing off for what, 5 years now, something
Oh,
crazy.
probably more than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that's what we're getting. I mean, there was no
No.
way that's what we were getting, and we all knew it at the time, right? That was
Right.
purely a marketing thing that they just, man, they squeezed
Yeah,
every.
we did. Tim found the guy that did the Sunbelt logo redesign when they did that rebranding, like right there at COVID. It was like the onset of COVID, I think, is when that happened.
Oh
And
yeah,
we need to find the graphic artist that did the rendering of that baseball thing and be like, shoot me straight here. They just said put a baseball park here, and you went hog wild because there's no way they said we can do all of this crap, right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
but
they
then but then after, that last call where we were cussing about them not having a comment, apparently they filed for a permit,
Mhm.
to do the construction and did not publicize that either, and I get it might have been Atlanta Business Journal there too, but they basically reported on it and said, "No new news, though." Like, we cannot get in like, they're not responding to us, and like, "What the hell?"
it makes no sense to me. Like, at minimum, if you're not gonna respond, say, you know, a full press release is forthcoming. Don't let them put decline to respond in their article. Like, at
Right.
least give them a nugget, give them something. Like, yeah, all right, we'll find out what's gonna be. But no, they just sit there and they decline comment. You're bringing the Atlanta Braves moved baseball out of downtown Atlanta,
Yeah.
and, the Braves are a national team. Ted Turner did that with, the TBS, putting the Braves, on TBS, and you watch any away game for Braves now, and there's always Braves fans there, and it's not because they travel for the game, it's because they live there, because they grew up watching Braves on TBS. They became a fan of the team when they were
Yep.
horrible, and so we lost downtown Atlanta baseball. It's a staple. It's part of what makes Atlanta what it is that is having that Atlanta baseball right there at that exact same home plate, and we're bringing it back. Georgia State's bringing it back. We're gonna have downtown Atlanta baseball again, and we can't capitalize. We can't market that. We can't talk. We can't. We decline comment over it.
I mean, and
That's
they shouldn't
that,
even
that,
be
that that's
finding out
that's
because we filed
treasonous.
the thing. They should have went to file at right after clicking send on the press release that they were filing for it that day. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me
Yeah.
why this is how it's going down because it should be a major marketing initiative. It should be a major development initiative to go out and raise the money. But like this is what people want to see in their athletics programs is new facilities and investment
Mhm.
and all that stuff. This is the time to say no, we're I know it's been rough being a fan of Georgia State, but like we're still building stuff. We're doing, these big things. We're still trying to transform the university into a more sports centric place,
Right.
and it's just like they're just totally missing it for some reason.
It just seems like a slam dunk type of thing to do.
Yeah.
It just you're welcome, Atlanta. We now have baseball in downtown. We brought it back. Just be all about it. Like they are. The Georgia State is doing the city a favor. This is your Christmas gift. You're getting baseball again. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous to me. And we had Coastal was in the College World Series just this past weekend. It didn't, uh, go their way according to the refs, but, we're in a conference that could has I guess technically they were not in the conference when they won the World Series, but, we have a team in our conference that's won a baseball World Series, college World Series. If Coastal Carolina can win a baseball World Series, why can't downtown Atlanta win a baseball World Series? Like, that should be a no-brainer.
Well,
That should be every year.
we probably just need like two pitchers, seriously.
I know our hitting was great this season. It just seemed like we couldn't get the other hitters off the bases. So,
I mean, that's typically our problem. I feel like we every year have like one good pitcher who can like have a really good game, in the rotation, but then
yeah.
every other game is just like everyone is just hitting the ball like mad.
Well, yeah, I mean, what a great marketing opportunity to a baseball pitcher. Is like, "Hey, you wanna" I know that it's gonna be slightly shifted, "Baby, you wanna stand on the same mound as Greg Maddux and John Smoltz and Tom Glavine. You wanna play in an outfield with where Dale Murphy played. You can do all of these, Hank Aaron. You can bat at the plate that Hank Aaron did.
Hmm. You might
The
even be able to hit the ball over the freaking wall.
that Hank Aaron did,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just it's a slam dunk thing. I don't know how you don't do it. It's almost at the point where you wanna, like, do a vote of no confidence in our administration for everything.
Yeah, it's not a democracy.
No, well, they're not fulfilling their roles.
I know. Yeah,
They're not doing their jobs.
I know. It's insane to me. Like I said, eh, you need to be raising money off of this. I just don't even understand. Like even in the small scale one, right? Like so I the comment that keeps getting to me is the $50 donation that'll buy us a screw. I'm like, that's one more screw than you had yesterday.
Yep.
I don't understand. And you get all of the extra benefit of having that development campaign be a marketing campaign as well, right? Like you're now touching all of these fans, and getting an extra touch is like key, right? That's what you want when you're doing marketing. You want to make sure that you have lots of touches for your potential
Mhm.
consumers. And we're just like letting it go by. Just poof.
Should we start a campaign to impeach Charlie Cobb and, like, get shirts that says just "Impeach Cobb"? They may think it's the ca they may think it's the county, but yeah, you start walking in. Could you imagine if we actually got, we did a pretty good, drive on the state town shirts. If we can get people to start walking into basketball and football games that have shirts that say "Impeach Cobb."
Yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna go over, but it could be fun. But what are they gonna not like us?
I know, right? It's like mission accomplished.
Yeah, like,
At this point, that's what you gotta do. Like, we've played nice, you know, there's no better voice for, Georgia State becoming, the next big thing than what we try to do here,
mm,
you know?
yeah,
And I'm not saying we're the best at it, but we're trying, we're
yep,
doing it,
yep.
and yet, and I'm not asking for special treatment, but I'm kind of asking for special treatment. But instead, it's almost like they wish we weren't around.
No, I mean I definitely get that feeling. I definitely get like it's funny too because even at tailgates where I'm just like we'll be setting up and then and be completely left alone, right? Which is totally fine. But then when other people show up, they're out there helping them set up, out there doing this and that. And I'm like, okay, all right, I see, all right,
I see
it's
how you're
cool,
treating us. That's
it's
fine.
fine. It was fine before, it's fine now. But like, I see, I understand. You,
And that's why I used to say donate to the pack and donate to NIL and then join our Patreon. Now I say join our Patreon and then do I NIL. And if you have any money left over, go back to our Patreon and upgrade. And
yeah,
then
that's right.
and then you can donate to the pack. Because we're doing more to advance Georgia State than athletics is with their multi-million-dollar annual budget to do so.
Yep,
So,
yep.
I didn't mean I didn't mean to get on a hate tirade.
Well, I sort of did. I felt bad that nobody got to hear last week's last call because
Yeah.
I feel like we laid into him a little, maybe even a little more than this. 'Cause we were all pretty good and toasty by then.
Yeah, for sure. And, and we got, Tim was chiming in as well. Do you see my text? I said, like, I think we need to get when Tim's not here, we just need to get Tim, like, watching the episode or listening to the episode and, like, saying, like, "Ryan, I actually agree with you on that," or, "David, you're stupid drunk right now," or whatever. I think that'd be a fun social media thing of like, where they do, like, where they get celebrities, like, watch their old roles or something like that, and they comment, like, "Oh my god, I remember doing that," and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah,
I think kinda funny. So
that sounds boring as shit to me, but
oh, someone critiquing what you're talking about?
I already said it. I already said the important thing, right?
I'm not sure if you know this, Ryan. I like when the intention is focused on me, so this sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, like I said, boring.
All right. I mentioned Coastal Carolina and the World Series. I think I'm going to try to get our college huddle brethren from Coastal on here to talk about everything that went down in the World Series and that entire playoff stuff. But just to kind of go over it a little bit here, did you watch either of the games? The
No, I
championship?
don't even watch baseball that I'm supposedly fan of.
No, I've been to baseball games with you, and I can definitely confirm that you don't watch baseball at all. So,
It's boring. I mean, I don't think baseball players watch baseball.
they do, they do. Oh my god, they watch things I didn't know that you could watch in baseball.
It's funny because they're all studying though. They're all like looking up history because they're all historians. So they're like, oh well, the game's boring, so I guess I'll like read a book
about baseball.
about baseball
Did
instead
you
of
ever see the
watching
movie?
baseball.
Did you ever see the movie For Love of the Game? Kevin Costner movie.
Of course, duh. I could have told you he was in it.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a great, I forget that. I forget. I think the actor. I think it's Elizabeth Shue. I could be wrong who the love interest is. I forget. I think it's her. They're on their first date, and he's talking about being. He plays a pitcher for. Ooh, I'm gonna forget who it is. I think the Tigers, Detroit Tigers. I think is who it is. And he makes a comment about counting how many strikes or something, whatever. And she's like, "You count that?" And he's like, "It's baseball. We count everything." And for whatever, like, that just kind of stuck with me. And I'm like, that is baseball is like the most, and maybe why I like baseball, because I love digging into the numbers and all the
Mhm.
trends and crap like that. That's why I studied decision science at Georgia State, because it was all about the analytics, the data analytics of everything. And that's what baseball is all about, because they've played a bajillion. There's probably more American, like, Major League baseball games played than any other sport has played
Yeah.
ever.
Well, and you say
And
that I remember when I was a kid, you'd go in with like your sheet with all the players and the at bats, and you would keep track of everything that was happening.
Mhm.
And you still will go to a game today and look around, and there are people there by themselves, just like marking up a sheet, every pitch, saying exactly what happened. And I'm like, all right, that's
Yeah.
somebody doing that for you. Like you can just go online later and check
You
that
just
out if you
yeah,
want.
we have a thing called the internet. You can put up that phone, and it'll, like, show you all of that right now. By the way, the Braves are
Everything.
up Braves are up 6-3 against the Mets right now, and the Mets are having a great season, and the Braves are not, but the Braves have owned the Mets so far this season. It's the best thing about our season is that the Mets are like, for you, Ryan, the Mets are like, our Saints or our trash down south for
Oh, I thought
for
that was more like, the, Philly.
they're right. It's for the Braves, the Mets and the Phillies kind of share that role, but I
Uh-huh.
would say if you had to pick one, it's probably Mets.
Oh, okay, cool. I had
Yeah,
always heard Phillies,
but
which
the
is why I thought it was super weird that we, like, when we got rid of, whatever, Chief Nakahomer, right?
Mhm.
Nakahomer? We,
Nakahoma.
Nakahoma, we replaced him with a copy of the Phillies Fanatic. I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Well, no, it's Phillies Fanatic. If the Fanatic had sex with Homer Simpson and they output a child, is what Blooper is.
Yeah,
And
but it's still just sorta like, "What are you doing, like, copying your rival?" I don't understand.
yeah,
Like, come up
well,
with something else.
we also had Homer the Brave, who was basically a knockoff of Mr. Met or
That's
whatever
the
he is.
baseball head, right? That's the baseball head guy? Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
Homer.
yeah. We had Homer at my wedding.
Yeah, 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 yep. With
Yeah,
the Knight and Pounce and
yeah.
somebody else. There was another one too, right?
Freddie the Falcon.
Oh, yeah, Freddy. Yep, that's it. There were 4, I think.
Yeah, that's four correct, four correct. So, no, so the baseball game. So the funny thing was, so Coastal had, like, gone on a 26 game winning streak leading into this, and I looked back, and we were definitely part of that winning streak. We lost all 3 games to them, but they went in and they lost the first game 1-0. And Tim was messaging me, and he's like, "They blew it. They failed under pressure. They didn't live up to it." And I'm like, "Tim, they lost 1-0. Like, that is the least amount of way that you can lose a game is one. They didn't lose 15-14. They lost 1-0. You
Yeah,
know? Like, they were equals. They were effectively equals on the field that day, you know?
yeah,
One guy had a better at bat than your guy had, you
yep.
know? So they were equals. And then the next game, I think, was 5-3 or something like that. But the interesting thing about the second game was, the coach. I always struggle with calling, college baseball coaches, 'cause in MLB, it's manager. But, yeah, so the coach for Coastal got kicked out in the very first inning
Good.
for arguing pitch calls.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good coach, you get kicked out. That's why Bobby Cox, that's why he was the best coach that
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
lived.
exactly. You're never gonna get an Atlanta fan who is gonna complain about your coach getting kicked out. You're like, "Oh, yeah, he should have been kicked out. Like, he shouldn't even be allowed in the stadium. Like, your coach shouldn't even
Yeah,
be
what
there."
do they let that guy in for? Dummies? Don't they know anything?
Oh, man. I've been preached by so many people about how Bobby Cox was not a good head coach or manager or whatever, and I'm like, "Don't care. Love that man." That's like my 3rd grandfather. I love that
How
man.
many teams did he take to the World Series? Like, come on, guys. What are you doing? There's a
Well,
bunch. I know
I
he
don't know
didn't
how.
win a whole lot of them, but he took a bunch of teams there. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he probably beat his wife more than he actually won World Series, but still, he's like a
Oh, I
grandfather
don't
to
know
me.
anything about that.
Oh, you don't know that story? I'll look
Oh,
that up later on. Yeah, he wasn't good at home.
oh, that sucks.
Still, I'm from the South. Our grandparents beat each other. My
No, well,
grandmother.
at least it sounds like it wasn't like, just women, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be abusive to everybody,
I'm gonna
including the
pick
refs."
this one.
Yeah, yeah.
This one woman. Like, I'm probably I'm gonna get canceled out of this
It
whole
was
crap.
refs, I'm sure it was players, it was, the men and women alike just felt the
My
abuse.
favorite my favorite Bobby Cox story, and I think I've shared this on here before, but I heard it, it was like an interview they were doing with, Maddox or Glavine or somebody, and it said, so neither of them were pitching, so they were in the back area out in the dugout, like, just hanging out, watching the game and stuff like that. Bobby Cox comes down there to get coffee or something, and he's like, "How's it looking out there today?" Asking them what their perception of what the game is. And so they told him that the ump, was missing all the calls. Like, he's just blatantly missing all these calls. And he wasn't. He was fine. Everything was fine. Everything was good. But they told him that he was missing him. He goes back out onto the dugout. Ball gets thrown. Bad call, whatever it may be. And Bobby Cox goes and bitches out their ump and gets kicked out of the game. All because they said that he wasn't being good that day. It takes very, very little to get Bobby Cox kicked out of a game.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a funny thing though. So one of the refs, so like when it happened with Coastal, one of the refs, I don't know which ref it was, he walked up and he just fell. He fell straight to the ground. Like, no one touched him. There was no whatever. And they asked the Coastal coach afterwards about the ref falling, and he said something along the lines of, "I'm not responsible for a grown man's athleticism."
Was he talking about his own athleticism?
No, talking about the ref just falling. What do you think about the ref falling? I'm not responsible for a grown
Oh, I
man's.
thought it was the ref.
No, asking the Coastal coach about it.
Oh, yeah.
He was hot. He was hot. He had not calmed down after 9 innings of baseball that he couldn't be at. It was
Yeah.
funny.
But, I mean, it's like, why would you ask him about that? What the hell? Who cares? Who cares what
You
he
know
thinks about it?
media.
I know.
Media.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess the first base coach got ejected too. I don't even know what the hell he said, but at
I've
that
got a
point,
little respect for the Chanticleers.
I will tell you, Ryan. I'll promise you this, Ryan. If we are ever coaching a game and you get kicked out of the game, I will get myself kicked out so we can go back together and hang out and drink beer and watch the rest of the game together.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, I think it's what first base coach did. He's kind of like, I want to get out of this heat and go
Yeah, that sounds
sit in air
better.
conditioning and
I'm
drink
not doing
beer. And
anything. This is just baseball. It's not hard.
It's like, I don't even like this sport. I couldn't get a career in like biomedicine, so I had to do this. So
Good boy.
I don't think I have anything else.
I mean, I think going 50 minutes without a third co-host is pretty darn good.
I was thinking we were going to be going short, but whenever I think we go short, we go long and hard.
That's what she said.
You was waiting for it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're gonna continue on this to last call that hopefully works this week.
Feels good this time.
Yeah. I got a new computer. Well, I'm not getting a new computer. I'm using a different computer
Must
right
be nice.
now. So hopefully it works. Yeah. Thanks for listening. If you made it this long, then this is gonna be the second pitch to join our Patreon, patreon.com/stateofatlanta. $5. There is a discount code off 5 to get 50% off your first month. So take advantage of that 50% off and sign up for the highest tier possible, so you get the most value for. I think we give away free shirts and stuff for the higher tiers. So do that. All right, and you'll get access to last call early as well. So thanks for listening. Say goodbye, Guy.
Goodbye, guy.